Om Nilambujasyamalakomalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panau Maha Sayakacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Om. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, who is very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side, and he is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. Ramcaritmanas, Bala Kanda. The topic is around 64th Doha verse. Recall the story of Sati, how Sati developed doubt about Rama's glory. Just to give you a little touch of that, Shiva and Sati were in their aerial journey, and that was a time when Sita was kidnapped by Ravana, and Rama was looking for Sita, but he was so distressed and distraught that he started asking, "Where is Rama?" Mhm. Even the birds and the beasts and the leaves of the tree, "Where is Rama?" And she saw Lord Shiva bowing his head before Rama, Jai Satchidananda. And she was extremely surprised. Shiva to bow down to someone who is so distressed. Mhm. And when she asked about who this Rama is, Lord Shiva asked her, "Why don't you test him? And by have your own personal experience that Rama is not the way he looks like. He is Brahman, the absolute." Sati assumes the form of Sita and places herself on the path that Rama and Lakshmana are following. They see Sati from a distance. To cut the story short, they adore her, saying, "O Devi, why are you alone? You are always with Shiva." And Sati realizes that her trick didn't work. That Rama recognized her. And suddenly, shocked by that experience, she turned her back and started moving back to Shiva. But on her way, Rama created Maya, magical visions for her. She saw countless world systems with variable gods. Rama is invariable in all the worlds. And with all that, Sati returns to Shiva. And Shiva asks, "Did you put Rama to trial? Did you test Rama?" And she said, "No, Lord. Why should I disbelieve you?" And Shiva, of course, knew the storylines. He creates a pledge that as long as Sati is in this state of being fraudulent with me, she will not be my ardhangini, my spouse. And at that time, the divine flowers showered upon him, and the heavenly voice said, "Glory to Lord Shiva's resolve." It's a storyline. The story is very transparent. And Sati asks Shiva, "What type of pledge have you made? What type of resolve?" And Shiva, in turn, didn't say anything about his pledge. It's kind of a mutual deception. But behind all that, the subtle implication is Sati is buddhi-bhāvanā, the feeling that goes along with your intellect. In other words, intellect must resolve a problem, then your feeling shines about it. Intellect must tell you Rama is Rama. Then her feeling will go after him. I will not go into too much detail, but the idea is to be, for easy understanding, consider Sati as dry intellect. In the beginning, in the spiritual movement, your understanding is based on a dry intellectualism. That intellectualism does not lead you to the highest. It must change. The soul comes to realize that dry intellect is not favorable for its attainment of its own glory. Soul is Shiva. And therefore, at soul level, there develops a resolve. I will not stay with Sati. I will not be perfect with dry intellect. I must join with intuitive intellect. I must witness the transformation of intellect into intuition. Simple point. As long as your soul is being led by intellect, there will be great progress. But that progress is not enough. In the beginning stage, through that progress, you are as if close to God, but yet there is a separation. You cannot blend with God. Sati's condition is that. And Shiva, having come to discover that predicament, creates a resolve. That resolve is again relates to all aspirants, whoever has developed that high level of purity, a resolve as if rings through your deepest level of your personality. That no longer will I come into the world of time and space. I will attain liberation. Put that resolve into a storyline. I will not stay wedded to Sati. I will join with Sati when she becomes transformed into Uma. Sati is the daughter of Daksha. Daksha is ego principle. All worldly realities are dominated by Daksha spirit. Everything requires, Daksha literally means skill. There is skillful intelligence that supports the entire universe. And to gain insight into that skill makes you a great scientist, makes you a very powerful person. But all that knowledge is not enough to lead you to liberation. On one side, gaining immense knowledge of the world, gaining immense power in the world of time and space. On the other side, attaining liberation. On one side, enjoying countless illuminations of the sun. So many things to enjoy. On the other side, just the sun. Mind has to work upon this riddle. Upanishad turns it from alpam to bhuma. Alpam means little. All experiences that you want to get in the world, first point, you must realize they're dependent upon your nervous system. A big magical show created by your little brain and little centers of the brain. Just like your computer, the modern type of email system, contains so many things within see its mechanics. The mechanical constituents of the computer are very little things you can't even describe it. And yet it captures so much information. The whole world enters in your hand. Same is the predicament. Your soul, out of its just a ray of its power, has created a nervous system. Through that nervous system, you are experiencing a world so vast that it has no beginning, it has no end, and it is boundless. Everyone is working for finding comfort and satisfaction in the realm of time-space causation. And all that you find is based upon your little nervous system, a little skeleton. So no matter how much you attain, it is just a ridiculous attainment. Now, the same intellect, in spite of all the limitations of the world, begins to do virtuous deeds. It plays the role of Sati. It has joined with God within. Virtuous deeds allows the intellect to come to that level to recognize that Shiva does not have a place in Dakṣa-yajña. The entire world is Dakṣa-yajña, ego-based celebration. All gods are invited in this Dakṣa-yajña, little gods. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, they don't have any place in here. Especially the story tells that Daksha had developed inimical attitude towards Shiva. And the story says that another time when Daksha was performing a great yajna, and when he entered, all gods stood up to welcome Daksha. But Shiva stayed on without welcoming Daksha. And this agitated the mind of Daksha. Since then he held Shiva as an enemy. Try to understand, there is so vast difference from the story to reality. But the story is being told because it entertains your mind. And while it entertains, it injects into you a substance that will require lifelong meditation, reflection. So you can figure that out, that level. So, in the present state of this story, when Shiva had created his sankalpa that he will not be with Sati anymore, as with that mutual relation that they had before, that will not be there. Since then, Sati became like a student, and Shiva became like a guru. And while that state was flowing in its own way, Daksha created a yajna, and all were invited, but Sati was not invited, and Shiva was not. Nevertheless, Sati insisted that since the father's sacrifice, she must go. And Shiva first tried to persuade her not to go, but nevertheless let her go. Sati comes and looks around in the yajna, all gods, but Shiva has no place. And she finds it extremely insulting. And at this stage, I will get into the Ramayana. Jagadātama maheshu Purāri, Jagat Janak sabke hitakari. When she sees that Shiva's place is not there, she thinks within herself, this Purāri, Pura term is called city. Ari, he is the enemy of city. 3 cities. Cities relate to lokas. Every soul is confined to physical plane, subtle plane, causal plane. Those planes are 3 planes, Tripura. And there's Puranic story where Tripura is presented as a big demon. And Lord Shiva destroys this Tripura. In other words, Lord Shiva destroys the threefold illusion. I am the body, I am the mind, I am the intellect, and leads the soul to liberation. Therefore, he is called Purāri, and more extendedly, Tripurāri. And he is Jagatma, the self of the entire universe. Pita mandamati nindatatehi. But my father, Daksha, being dull-witted, insults Shiva. And I have to bear the insult because I am the daughter of Daksha. Tajiham turat deha tehi hetu, urdhari chandra mauli vrishaketu. And I will not stay limited. I will abandon this body, no longer daughter of Daksha. Holding Lord Shiva, Chandramauli, whose forehead is adorned by the crescent moon, and that symbolizes Ananda, bliss. Another name for Shiva is Vrishaketu. The subtle implication behind it is uprooter of the world process. In simple terms, in philosophy terms, having understood the illusory value of the world process. Invoke God, who is Satchidananda, existence, knowledge, bliss absolute, and who is the uprooter of the world tree. If that invocation is effective, perfect, your intellect will undergo a transformation. And that's described in an allegorical way, that she invokes fire. And yoga-agni doesn't have to use a matchstick. By her own will, she allows jnana-agni to flare up. And in the storyline, they all see her burn up right in front of their eyes. In simple terms, tattva jnana should render your intellect intuitive. Intellect is playing the role of Sati. An intellect that has become highly purified, that intellect is being presented as Sati. So Sati is a great ideal in Hindu tradition. Satitva term relates to women and their fidelity to their husbands. You are Sati. In old time, it led to some terrible culture. A woman lost her husband. Because of her tremendous fidelity to her husband, she would never imagine any other. Not even imagine that she will live. So along with the dead body of the husband, she would burn herself up. Called Sati Pratha. But what happens, I'm trying to point out to you, high philosophy brought into such degraded interpretation. Every soul, all souls are, in mystical way of describing, all souls are like women. Stri. God is the Purusha. And every soul must develop fidelity to that God. So the practice of Satitva is not just for men, or rather for women, but women, men, they are all one kind. They're all souls, gripped by karmas. Same soul that's male today might have been women in many births. And future is still open. So therefore, developing Satitva Vrata, it simply means being deeply devoted to God. And God alone is my beloved, my reality. And in that process, allowing your body identity to be burnt up to ashes. Not physical body. But from that great philosophy comes terrorism. Sati Pratha is a form of terrorism. But even today, people don't want to hear that. They always want to view it as something so great. Thank God. Now, following this story now, Sati, yoga-agni talu jara. In front of all, Sati's body was scorched by fire. And all those who had assembled there, they all started saying, ha, ha, ha. Not ha, ha with joy, ha, ha, ka. See, from sorrow to joyous sunshine, the expression Vijakshara is very similar. When the sorrowful development say, hi, 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 alas, alas, alas. When joyous attainment, ha, woo, ha, woo, ha, woo. I'm just pointing out to the Maya aspect, illusory aspect of human emotions. Now, follow this story. Sati maran suni sambhugan lage karan makhakis jagya vidhansak viloki bhrigu rachakin munis. Seeing what happened to Sati, the attendants of Lord Shiva began to bring chaos in that yajna vidhvans, destroying everything, putting everything in disorder. The sage Bhrigu sustained the yajna by his special personality. Last time I have already mentioned about the role of sage Bhrigu. Simple point to understand that while intellect in you undergoes transformation, there is a divine hand that continues to sustain your practical realities without upsetting them. समाचार जब सब शंकर पाए वीरभद्रु करि कोप पठाए यज्ञ विध्वंस जाय तिन कीन्हा सकल सुरन विधिवत फल दीन्हा. When Lord Shiva came to know of this, he sent a powerful attendant known as Virabhadra. Veer, heroism. Heroism that leads you to Bhadra state. Bhadra is highly spiritually advanced level. That heroism can do many things. If you are heroism, you can be a wrestler. You can catch a ball. It's good. But heroism that allows you to move away from earthly pull, from the temptations of the world and turn towards God. That type of heroism an aspirant discovers in his heart. And when that has come, Virabhadra has come. When Virabhadra has come, Dakṣa-yajña becomes demolished. An allegorical term. This whole world that goes on impacting you, upon you, once that heroic spirit has developed within your heart, a spiritual heroism, that world becomes little. You do not view the world as something so challenging. The simile is, you become like the sky. The world becomes like clouds. See the relationship between the sky and the clouds. The sky is not affected by the clouds. So clouds can be of any type. But if you do not have that purity of the sky, if you are turning your mind to a patch of blue, not the total sky, a patch of blue is subject to changes caused by clouds. A few clouds and a patch of blue can become small. A few more clouds, it can as if going to die. If the clouds spread backward, the patch of blue expands. Human soul acts like the expanding, contracting sky due to ignorance. Because the reality of the sky is neither contracting nor expanding. So when you develop a purity of heart, you begin to discover, I am the sky. At that stage, Dakṣa-yajña is demolished. Because now you do not create karmas to be bonded with the world of time and space. The mind is not interested in it. But the process is progressive. And tremendous patience and persistence and sadhana, all is needed. In storyline, Virabhadra demolished that entire yajna. Bhai jag vidit daksha gati soyi, jasi kachu sambhavi makha bimukha kaya hoyi, yaha itihas sakala jagajani, tate mai sanchepa bakani. And Daksha met with that result which enemy of Shiva deserves to get. Enemy of Shiva is simply implies one who does not believe in God, believes in matter as the only reality. In the storyline, Virabhadra chased many of those gods away, and many of the created terrible upheaval in that yajna hall. And when Lord Shiva came to realize this, he joined with the termination of the yajna and the termination of the very leader of the yajna, Daksha. Daksha's head was chopped off by Shiva's trident. But then Bhrigu and other sages offered prayers to Shiva. And there was sacrificial goat nearby. And that goat's head was placed on Daksha's body, because his own head was so shattered that it can't be repaired. Daksha with goat's head offers prayer to Shiva. In the storyline, all this must realize is like a big fable from a swollen bully head and transit to goat head. Figures out the subtle meaning behind it. If you are proud and conceited, you may have a beautiful head, but it's a bully head. And when you have developed spiritual humility, now you have goat head. Vinabrata, developing a spirit of humility within yourself, that becomes an unmistakable indication of your spiritual progress. But you must know the details about the implications of humility. And then this story, Ramayana doesn't give those stories and leaves you to understand that this story is well known, Puranic story. Shiva carries the dead body of Sati on his shoulders, and his expression of power is uncontrollable. Vishnu goes after reconciling with Shiva. But in the storyline, he uses his chakra, Discourse, and the body of Sati that's on the shoulder of Shiva. He goes on cutting limb by limb. And those limbs fall in different parts of India. They're known as Shakti Peeth. That's a different story, because that's the plan of saints and sages to bring scripture right in your geographical world. So when you see the Ganges, you have a whole story. You see Himalayas, you have a story behind it. And you have created temples, and the temples tell you a story, what happened that made the temple. I will not go too much in that direction, but try to understand that point. Sati marata harisana barumaga, janama janama shiva pada anuraga. While dying, Sati received the boon from Lord Vishnu, same as Rama. And the boon was, may I be devoted to Shiva from life to life. Tehi karan himgiri grihajayi, janami Pārvatī tanupayi. As a result of this, Sati incarnated in the house of Himalayas. Again, this is a mystical setting. The spirit of Himalayan mountain is Himachal. And his wife is known as Mayana. Himachal relates to spiritual potentiality in human being. And Mayana relates to spirit of humility. Simple way to understand my term is ego. Na is not. The Himalayan potency has to operate from your unconscious, blended with sadbhavana, divine feeling. When that begins to happen, the intellect that was burnt up now will be rejuvenated as Uma. The very name Uma is Om. And being the daughter of mountain is called Pārvatī. She's known as Pārvatī. Jab te Uma shail griha jayi, sakal siddhi sampati tah chayi. The moment Uma came to the palace of Himalaya, all types of prosperity and siddhi began to manifest in Himalayan valleys and Himalayan heights. The whole situation of Himalayas begins to prosper. Jahan tah muni ne suashrama kine. Great sages created their ashrams in the Himalayan mountains. Uchita vasa hima bhūdhara dinhe. And the spirit of Himalaya welcomed those sages, gave them special ashrams. Sada sumana phal sahita sab drumnava na jati. Pragati sundar sail par mani akar bahubhati. the idea behind it. If you have brought in your heart that transformation of your intellect, Viveka Buddhi has been born within you, then a new vision begins to unfold. Prior to this, your vision was always ugly, negative. Now, every day, a new revelation develops, and the world becomes a source of jewels and diamonds. People are drawn by the literal meaning, you see. But the subtler meaning, the same world now begins to promote Davi Sampat, divine qualities in your personality. Same world that brought in your mind worms and spiders and roaches of petty thoughts and emotions. Now it brings to your mind amazing glory of God. You begin to assimilate Vibhuti Yoga of the Gita. Sahaj Bairu Sab Jeevan Tyaga, Giri Par Sakal Karahi Anuraga, and Matri Bhav develops towards the whole world. In storyline, even the animals began to live together with great harmony. Even a monkey caught hold of baby kid, the goat, and nursed the goat as if the monkey is the parent. I'm making an extended joke. Allegorical descriptions are there of the ashrams. But behind the allegorical description, the subtle meaning that inimical feeling does not have its place if your heart is developing love of God. Therefore, your heart resonates with Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya. May all be happy. When you say all, you do not look around for exceptions. May all be free of misery. Soha sail girija grihem aaye, Jimi janu Rāmabhakti ke paaye. That palace, the whole mountain, began to shine in a special way when Pārvatī manifested in that mountain. The entire mountain began to develop a special, unique quality. And Tulsidas said that same thing happens to your personality. If Rāmabhakti were to enter your heart, Nitnutana Mangala Grihatasu, Brahmadik Gavahi Jasajasu. And if you have developed profound devotion, Nitnutana Mangala, every day you view every day as something of a new revelation. Similar meaning is applied to Om as Pranava and is implied also with the name Rama or any mantra. Ideally, your mantra should not bore you, but if you are well qualified, each day you find your mantra opening something different, bringing out some special fragrance, bringing you a special awakening. a life with inspiration. Easily said, but you must realize life will have always challenges. And faith will help you a lot. In challenging situations, things may seem dark. But if you have profound faith, you will survive the adverse situation. And when you survive, shine much brighter than before. Each time the moon emerges out of a dark cloud, is a poetic way of saying, it shines brighter. And since that experience comes, who cares? Let adversity come, let prosperity come. You are in divine hands. If you are a baby in mother's hands, let her put you in the bathtub. Let her put you close to her heart. नारद समाचार सब पाए, कौतुक ही गिरि गेह सिधाए, शैलराज बड़ आदर कीन्हा, पद पखारि वर आसनु दीन्हा. Narada came to know of Sati's birth. Sati has already grown up to a baby state. Narada is the embodiment of satsanga. In the storyline, spirit of Himalaya welcomes Narada, washes his feet, welcomes him on a wonderful, placing a wonderful seat for him. Nari sahit muni pad sirunawa, charan salil sabu bhavanu sichawa. Himalaya and his wife Mana, they bowed down to the feet of Narada. They took charanamrit, water touched by the feet of Narada. That water is sprinkled. All this is a highly allegorical and profound mystical implication. Nij saubhagya bahut giri barana, suta boli meli muni charana. The Himalayan king spoke of the glory of Narada, offered his praises, then brought his daughter Uma and placed her in his feet. त्रिकालज्ञ सर्वज्ञ तुम गति सर्वत्र तुम्हारी, कहु सुता के दोष गुण मुनिवर हृदय विचारी. And just like all Hindu families do, they are always interested. When an astrologer comes or palmist comes, people go sit around the palmist. Everyone starts stretching the head. O sage, you are the knower of three times, past, present, and future, all knowing. You are omniscient. Tell us about the fortune and misfortune of this daughter of mine. कह मुनि विहसिस गूढ़ मृदुबानी, सुता तुम्हारी सकल गुण खानी, सुंदर सहज सुशील सयानी, नाम उमा अंबिका भवानी. Narada Muni smiled and spoke softly but profoundly. Your daughter is the abode of all virtuous qualities. She is beautiful, gentle, and profound, with profound intelligence. She will be well known as Uma, as he described, Om turned around, Ambika, mother of the universe, Bhavani, the mover of the world process. Sabelachana sampannas kumari, hoi santat piyahi piyari. She will be endowed of all ideal qualities, and she will be always loved by her husband. And her married life is eternal. And she will bring about a tremendous fame and glory for her parents. Hoi hi pooja sakal jag mahi, ehi sevat kachu durlabh nahi. She will be worshipped by the entire world. And whoever worships her will attain fulfillment of all their desires. Nothing will be impossible to attain by worshipping Pārvatī Devi. Ehi kar naam sumini sansara, Shriya chariha hi pativrata asidhara. By constantly remembering, reciting, doing japa of her name, all triyas, literal meaning all women will attain pativrata dharma, which I have explained to you. All souls are triyas, and they will attain liberation. Sail surachana suta tumhari, sunahu je ab gun duishari. Your daughter is all good qualities. She is the abode of good qualities. But there are two or four defects. She's going to marry someone, agun, who has no qualities. Aman, who cannot be praised beyond praises. Matupituhina, and who will be without parents. Udasin, detached from this entire world. Samsanshayachina, whose mind is absolutely rid of all illusions. Yogi jatila kamaman nagan amangala vesh, asa Swami ehi kaha milihan parihasta asirek. He will be a yogi, not a good looking one, jatadhari. Lot of metal locks. Nishkam hridaya. His heart has nothing to go after. It's completely fulfilled. Nanga is absolutely without coverings. Beyond all the sheets, 5 sheets, 3 bodies, beyond. This is the description of Brahman. Amangal. You go after omens in the world of relativity. Is this good omen? Is this bad omen? Shiva is beyond omens. That's the type of husband she will get. And with this I will conclude. Om Shri Ramaya Namah. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.